cold weathers is 3.6 miles in. That's awesome. We'll see who we get here. Hey, no commercial. I don't have to pause the live video. So, everybody, this is our last live video from this location. I am in the midst of closing on the new house, and this is it. I'm excited to get started again in the new location, and pretty stoked. Hey, Max. Max is on. It's early morning in Australia, probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Hey, Michael Dowling, tuning in. Cole's getting his steps. He's 3.6 miles into his Monday workout. That's so awesome. So, what's there to talk about this week? A little bit. Number one, the Graflex deal. So, I built this Graflex. I know some of y'all have seen the price on it. Had a lot of money invested in this. Probably my mistake doing all the accuracy mods on it. The guy that initially, it's funny because he'd been hounding me for months about when's the saber going to be ready, when's the saber going to be ready, when's the saber going to be ready. And I got the saber ready, and he backed out of the deal. So, yeah, hey, Rich, good to see you. Rich is in the house. And so this baby is still for sale. This is a Graflex 2.5, and it has the GAW 3D chassis in it, the Night chassis. Y'all have seen the cool stuff that's in the back of this thing, but I'll take it apart just so you guys can see it. Go ahead and initiate it. So all the cool stuff's going because it went to sleep there. But it's got accent neopixels in the back end. It's got a pulsing crystal chamber. It's got an Arkham. I'm sorry, this one's just got a normal Graflex blade plug. It's got motion, all the stuff that you've seen in the 2020 ESB Graflex video. But the bottom line was the initial subscriber on my YouTube channel and Facebook page who had been hounding me for months about this saber backed out of the deal. Now, the price with all the accuracy upgrades I made on this, and there's a lot, you can see the video, was $1,300. I know that's steep for a saber. I know anytime you get above the $900 range, people start panicking. But that's for lightsaber, charger, and NeoPixel blade, and the illuminated blade plug, and all the accuracy upgrades. The custom chassis, the paintwork on the chassis, the NeoPixel accents. So, with that being said, for those of you watching, I'm willing to play Let's Make a Deal on this saber. I would prefer to ship this puppy out before I move on Friday and Saturday. I don't want this thing lingering over my head, but if it is, it is. But this saber, ESB Graflex 2.5, is for sale. That's first and foremost. I won't be doing that anymore, where somebody's like, I want a saber, and then I build it and they have dibs on it and then they back out, and that ain't going to happen anymore. They're going to have to put dibs on it with money to back them up. Thanks, Smooth Jazz family. It's an awesome saber. I think the last 3 Graflexes I've produced, a TFA Graflex for Mike down in Florida, the TFA Graflex for Bobby Susenbach, and this ESB Graflex, are pretty awesome sabers. I'd be willing to let it go for the $1,300 price. The $1,300 price is fair. I have, hey Bohaken, I have $880 just in parts on that Graflex alone that I've invested. Not to mention my time. And yep, you're right, Max. That's what I should have done. I was trying to be a nice guy for my subscribers and my Facebook family, and it bit me. And now I have to deal with selling that saber, which was supposed to be spoken for. At any rate, that's first and foremost. We got that out of the way. If anybody wants one of my sabers, there you go. she's up for grabs. And, you know, I'm willing to negotiate on that price. I told you I had $880 invested in parts, plus I'm throwing in a NeoPixel blade and a NeoPixel blade plug and the charger. So, you know, not considering my labor at all. You know, I really think, yeah, I know, Rich, I saw your post. I really think that $900 would be really, really fair for that Saber. A payment plan, you know, I can't do that. I can't take payment plans. There's no guarantee that it'll get done. But the bottom line is, Mohican just got off work for the Monday night Megtooth live. But this is my last live at my old house. And of course, there won't be a live next week because I'll be in the midst of moving. And me and Jennaru and Ukulele Girl are all very excited to be moving. We close this Friday, and it's pretty exciting. It's scary. I've been painting the house. I'm covered in paint. For those of y'all that can't see, I'm covered in paint. So the cool thing is the whole outside of the house got painted last weekend, and I'm done with that. I'm just doing some tidying up and painting the windows, and I still have to paint the living room once we move out, but we're ready to go to market pretty much. I think somebody would buy this house as is right now without me painting the living room, but we'll see. Super excited. Oh yeah. I mean, the difference between the new house and this house are exponential. We're sitting on a lot of land over there, a lot of property, which is cool because I can park my boat in the backyard. I got room for a swimming pool in the backyard, which that's coming. And nice place for a grill and smoker so we can have big, huge family events at our house, which we're already planning. We're going to have a big, huge family event for Jennaru on Christmas Eve this year, and I'm pretty excited that we're going to be hosting that. And it's nice to have a house where we can host events like that. Family is hugely important for me, and it's hugely important for Jennaru, and we're pretty excited to have this opportunity. What else? I wanted to talk about, if y'all didn't see it, you know, one of the big hangups on Profi was that Profi wasn't very widely available. Profi was difficult to source, difficult to find. You know, KR would do runs of a couple hundred boards, and they would sell out in like 5 minutes. And I know, thank you, Cole. It's exciting. And KR would do these runs of a couple hundred boards, and they would be sold out in a couple of minutes, and you still couldn't get the boards. Justin Mars at Saber Bay would stock some of them, and Dimitri would stock some, but they were coming from Russia. And especially during COVID-19, for those of us here on the continent, for those of us here in the Americas, it was really difficult to source Profis. But for those of y'all who didn't see it, Electronics 123, Tanner Ewing made a post on the open source group, and Electronics 123 is now mass producing Profi boards. So no longer do I think we'll have a problem sourcing Profi boards. Number one, KR is invested in huge runs on Profi, and Tanner Ewing and Electronics 123 are also producing Profis. And you can get Profis now in pretty much any color. I got, hey, Fernando's on board. I got Profis, and we're going to talk about the swing activation, Fernando. I haven't even tried that yet. I've just been really busy with the house. But, you know, Electronics 123 has red Profis, white Profis, green Profis, black Profis, whatever you want. They got them in all those colors, and it's fantastic. So I finally ordered 2 red Profis, and when I get my red Profi, I'm going to put it in my New Hope Graflex once I move. And that'll be my final Go Sabres Rule Yourself to Jordan Eugene of SoCal Sabres. I finally have a red Profi, Jordan, and it didn't come from your run. And for those of y'all who are on that run, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm pretty excited to get that red Profi in from Electronics 123. Bottom line is that Profis are now going to be widely available in the United States. via Electronics 123. You can get them from Europe, all over Europe, from Cal, from KR Sabers, saberarmory.com. And, you can get them in Russia from Dmitry Stock. So I think that will help Proffies proliferate a lot greater. Hey, Willie J. So it's pretty cool that Proffies are becoming available. The cool thing for me is when Proffie 2.2 first came out and KR did his run, I bought 20 boards from him. I still haven't run out. I have plenty of Proffie 2.2s over in my inventory for installing sabers, which is good because I have a lot of sabers to install once I move. And, I'm pretty excited about the future of Proffie because I think Proffie's biggest hang up was they were hard to get. I think that's gone now with Electronics 123. Bovakin, like the Valkyne in Skyrim. His actual name is Bo. I'll just call him Bo. Bo is a lot easier. What's up, Bo? We'll just call him Bo. How often do I install non-Canon sabers, like normal MHS builds from TSS? Not as often as I would like, Willie. MHS is my favorite way to build. Unfortunately, during COVID-19 and since the last movie came out, TCSS, their inventory of parts for MHS was pretty much wiped out, and everybody's on all the groups asking for MHS parts all over the place. And, my preference and my first love is MHS sabers, which, speaking of that, something that I meant to mention in the last Megtooth Live, and I didn't. I'm hydrating, drinking water. The MHS V6 chassis, baby. It's back in stock at the Custom Saber Shop. And as soon as it went back in stock, I ordered a crap ton of them. I think I got like 6 or 7 of them. These chassis, they fit a normal 18650 battery sled here, and the soundboard goes on this side. And the cool part about this is TH Shroud slips over this. This is a Delrin chassis. You get less clash issues, volume and clash issues. Just sub this week. First stream with you. Oh, that's awesome, James Sparger. Welcome to the stream. So for those of y'all that have been looking for a drop chassis solution for Ultra Sabers and MHS Sabers, the V6 is back in stock. This is the coolest chassis for all-in-one drop chassis that ever existed. And there's a lot of tutorials about how to use this chassis on the Custom Saber Shop's YouTube channel. Rob Petkow did a lot of videos on the cool nature and the versatility of this chassis. So just so y'all know, that's a heads up. The MHS V6 chassis is back in stock. And I had to pick up a bunch before I told you guys because I like keeping a bunch of them in inventory because that's what I do. Yeah, Michael Dallin, the new house will be lots of work. We have a lot of things that we want to do to it right off the bat. And yeah, I know, Rich, I need a 3D printer, but that's not going to happen until we get settled at the new house and we get a workshop. We get settled in, a 3D printer's not outside of the realm, but man, I love those MHS V6 chassis. Looking for parts for a KR 3-cell Graflex, real pain to find. Also a 1-inch blade holder. Vader's Vault probably has a 1-inch blade holder for a Graflex 2.5, but for a replica Graflex, I'm not sure. Maybe try Vader's Vault or Solo's Hold. Solo's Hold may have 1-inch blade holders available, so that's where you might want to check, Ron, for your 3-cell Graflex. I'm pretty sure Solo's Hold was stocking a 1-inch. Now you got to realize that Cal's Graflex is a replica. So any chassis, any blade holder that works for replicas should work on KR's replica. So your big kahunas on that are KR Sabers, the Graflex shop, and Solo's Hold. If none of them have a 1-inch blade holder, I don't know what to tell you. I haven't been big on building replicas. I mean, I have replicas that I've built. I have one in my queue. I have a Graflex shop replica that's waiting for that red Proffie to be installed so I can show it off on YouTube's and show it to Jordan Eugene and tell him to cram all the money he stole. Jordan Eugene is a huge thief. He stole a lot of money from a lot of us, and it took a lot of fighting to get my money back from him. He's a scam artist, and that was a big mess. Yeah, so there you go, Mike. Hey, Mike, did the BMF font that I sent you, did that one have the smooth swing pairs too? So it's got smooth swing? I couldn't remember if I sent you the right one or not. Oh, that's awesome. You know, anybody else that wants that, you can email me at tomtillman@gmail.com. I'll happily give it out. Love that font by Shamim. And I've done some special modifications to her myself. It's like Han Solo and the Falcon, that BMF font. Love that thing. But I thought I already sent it to you, Max. Max, send me an email, tomtillman@gmail.com. I'll fire it out. Look out. I'm going to sneeze. I probably got the vid. Yeah, I'll send it to you, Max. Just send me an email, because I'm going to have to share it to you from my Google Drive. So send me an email at tomtillman@gmail.com, tomtillmon@gmail.com, and I'll fire it off to you. Yep. And that's for all the subscribers that watch Monday Megtooth Live. I'd be happy to share that one with you guys. I don't know what Shamim would feel about that. I mean, he took all the fonts off saberfont.com. He put it up there. I've modified it. Ethically, I'm okay with sharing it. And Shamim lives on in our sabers. I really wish Shamim hadn't dropped off the face of the planet like he did. But there's nothing we can do about that. But I'm happy to keep his comedic value and inspiration alive by sharing what I think was one of his greatest fonts that he ever created with all of you. So fire me an email at tomtillman@gmail.com. I'll share the Google Drive link with you guys so you guys can have BMF. Water. Yeah. Just still doesn't make sense how Shamim just dropped off the face of the earth like that. You know, nothing we can do. Had to be a specific Profi board, or once I sync it, will it be ready for any of them? So, Bo, I'll get to your question in a second. But to Wooly, you want to sync up Profi to your computer, you need to follow all the directions. Number one, you need to download Arduino. Number two, you need to download the Profi plugin. Number three, you need to run Zadig once. Only run Zadig once if you've got a PC to install the drivers. Once you install the drivers via Zadig by following the directions on Frederick's page, you know, you put your board in bootloader mode and then you run Zadig and it downloads the drivers to computers. And once you run that once, every time you plug in a Profi in your computer will recognize any Profi you plug in. A lot of guys think you got to run Zadig every time. That's not true. Zadig is a once and done program. Once you install the proper drivers on your Windows computer, you never have to run Zadig again. Every time you plug in a Profi, it'll recognize it. If it doesn't, Frederick did a video to show how to fix that, because you've run Zadig more than once. Once you run Zadig more than once, it screws up your computer, and then you have to follow Frederick's video to fix it. But at any rate, that's that. Let's get to Bo's question. Bo said he found a chassis to fit his Parks OWK. The house is a Profi. Shimino's workshop makes one. He's in the process of programming Profi 1.5 he's had since the first run. That's awesome. In fact, this saber was installed with a first run Profi from Frederick, and it's awesome. It's running the new OS. It's got all the, the motion activations and everything. There's nothing wrong with Profi 1.5. The only difference between Profi 1.5 and Profi 2.2 are the number of data pads, bigger data pads to solder on, and the fact that Frederick can put the SD card to sleep, which he hasn't implemented that. So the difference between Profi 1.5 and Profi 2.2 are negligible. Now, Profi 2.2 does have a more dependable amplifier on it, but I've wired a bunch of Profi 1.5s and I've only ever lost one amplifier out of the 20 boards that I've installed, and the rest of them are working fine. So that's the difference between Profi 1.5 and 2.2. They're negligible. So Willie, you just need to read the directions on Frederick's site for setting up your computer to run Profi. And I see, Max, that you sent the message. I'll reply to you tonight when we're finished here. And Michael Dallin asked that I've done the Profi soundboard. Am I willing to do a CFX soundboard, or if anyone asks you to build one? So I have done a CFX install, Michael Dallin. If you look on my YouTube channel, I did a Ultra Sabres mashup with a CFX install, and I actually installed the little SMD LEDs on it. So it had, scrolling SMD LEDs on the soundboard, which was pretty awesome. I think I was one of the first ones to do that, CFX. So I am experienced with CFX. I will say, point him to your video too on Profi. Yeah, I've done the setup videos on setting up your computer for Profi, and they're on my YouTube channel. If you go to my YouTube channel, I have a tutorial section, and I've done some videos there. But some other users like Fernando DeRosa have done probably better videos than mine on how to set up your computer for a Profi. But certainly on my tutorial page, there's how to set up Profi and Teensy Sabre, which in my opinion, watching the Teensy Sabre setup video still works because it's still applicable, because it's all the same except for the OS. Yeah, Mike, you're right. 2.2, ground and negative are bridged internally, so you don't have to, there's actually a trace between the negative and ground, so you don't have to put that bridge wire on it. If you watch my installing a Profi, you'll see me setting up that bridge wire on a Profi 1.5. You do not have to do that step on a Profi 2.2. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, there's a lot of videos out there. I do have some on my tutorial page for those of you that are trying to set up Profi on your computer. I'll admit this. Setting up your PC to program a Profi is difficult, but a lot of the naysayers and a lot of the CFX fans are going to say, well, you have to code to program a Profi, and I'm going to tell you right now that's not true. You go to Frederick's Profi page, you download a generic config file, and you can change that config file to be whatever you want in your Sabre. And then you go to Fernando's blade style page, which I didn't link before I published this video because I didn't have much time tonight because I was outside painting, but I'll try and link it after this video publishes. The bottom line is you do not have to be a programming expert to program a Profi, but you do need Frederick's link and you need Fernando's blade style sharing page link, and then you're golden. On Mac, it's easy. Cole says, yeah. My dad and Jennifer love Macs. That'll make you happy, Cole. Yeah, and also you got Dimitri's manual on the open source group. But for those of y'all that are still on PCs like me, and 40% or 50% of the population, yeah, there's a little bit more involved in setting up your computer to recognize Profis. But to me, I plug in a Profi in my computer, it recognizes it, I program it, it takes all of 2 seconds. On my config files, even the really complex config files may take me an hour to write, maybe more, but it's really relatively easy. Once you write a couple of config files, you're golden. But a lot of the CFX fanboys and the CFX pushers will down talk Profi and say, well, Profi's complicated because you got to code. That is simply not true. I'm not a coder. I'm not a computer nerd. I have a vague familiarity with computers, enough to be dangerous, as I like to tell Frederick. And the bottom line is, nowadays, I go to Frederick's site, I generate a generic config, I modify it with Fernando's blade styles, and that's it. As far as coding goes, I may go in the open source group and find out, hey, how do I code that? I want my accent LEDs to turn off. How do I do that? Timeout thing. And I'm running Matt McGurry's button mods right now, and I want to run Dimitri Stock's gesture ignition, and I read Matt's instructions on SA2CC button file about how to do that, and it's all pretty simple. I just follow the directions. I'm trying to read y'all's questions. Ken of the Hill, I've got a buddy that wants a super budget build. Can I do a single Cree in-hilt on the Profi? I've only done NeoPixels. Ken of the Hill, you can do a single Cree install on Profi, but I still suggest doing a tri-Cree. You can still do a tri-Cree on a budget. It wouldn't be much cheaper than the single Cree. I would just run a tri-Cree. Be done with it. Do a tri-Cree. Yes, it can be done on a Profi. Yes, you can do single Cree on a Profi, but I would still run a tri-Cree on a Profi. The reason I'd run a tri-Cree is you can run RGB and you can still have blade effects in an in-hilt Profi lightsaber, which is pretty cool. I haven't had any issues with FET 263's crystal chamber blade styles. All mine have compiled. My guess is, Mike, you might have used up all your storage. It depends on what error message you're getting. But the problem with the OS 4.7, which Frederick is working on, is that the OS is taking up so much space right now that we're not really having as much space to program on Profi as we did. And the more blades that you have running on your Profi, more desperate that becomes. In these Graflexes, I was running 3 blades. I'm running my main blade, the crystal chamber, and the aft accent LEDs in the back of the chassis. I'm not running any of those on sub-blades, so each of those is an independent blade style. And, when I get about 12 or 13 presets, my Profi is 99% full. So my guess is you might need to follow some advice on thinning out your config file. And there's some programming tips on the open source group right now, like there's a disable diagnostic codes that takes away quite a bit of the memory take up. You can get rid of the POV blade style. That gets rid of a lot of memory because the POV blade style is on the default config. And if you do those things, it might give you some more room so that your config compiles. Yeah, Jedi Seth, man, that your lightsaber 18 is really something special. You did a lot of machine work on that. Thing's awesome. So, CFX is an awesome soundboard. And yes, I'm willing to install CFX. In fact, I have 3 CFX installs in queue that will be going to Hong Kong that, I won't get to until I move. And those will be for Tony Tone on my Facebook page. But yeah, I do CFX installs. I'm not scared of CFX installs. But even fully tuned, sitting there messing with the configs on CFX, yeah, Seth, I was able to get it where it sounded okay, but it was never really like Profi. I don't know what it is. But CFX is just not as good as Profi. It doesn't sound as good. And the blade styles aren't as good. NeoPixel. Just not. Still not there. Yep, Max. The maximum is those loud bites. And when you get to, when you run over that, you're going to get a cannot compile your config. And the more blades that you have in your config file, the more you're going to run into that as an issue. So yeah, my guess is that's what you're running into. And I forget who posed that, but I think it was either Mike or Bo. But that's my guess. When you're trying to, there ain't nothing wrong with Fernando's crystal chamber blade styles, because I've got them in this saber back here. I had them in that experimental nightmare thing that I made for showing the LEDs versus neopixels on my nightmare project. That had Fernando's crystal chamber blade styles on there, and it worked just fine. I do not have a Golden Harvest V3, Rich, but I am on the waiting list for one. Those two sabers from Finland that I got, one of them is going to get a Golden Harvest and the other one's going to get a Verso. And I was going to donate one of those to Birch for his, charity project that he's got going on, but it didn't happen because I didn't get a Golden Harvest V3 in time. But I do have a message out to Frederick that I want a Golden Harvest V3, so the next time he does a run, hopefully I'll get a Golden Harvest. And when Cal restocks Versos, I'm going to be ordering a Verso to install in that other saber. So, I do intend on installing both Verso and the Golden Harvest V3. That way I can show my versatility, that I'm capable of installing Profi, Team Z Saber, Nano Biscotti, CFX, Golden Harvest V3, and Verso. And of course now y'all know NEC is out, which is sad, but NEC is out. You like it much better than the Verso, and it's better out of the box than CFX. That's awesome to hear, Rich. I'm pretty excited to see the Golden Harvest. The charity saber that we're building for Jedi Melissa, Padawan Jedi Melissa, is actually going to have a Golden Harvest in it. And Scarecrow is doing the install on that on TRA. And I think Scarecrow is still awaiting the chassis for Melissa's saber, but it's going to have the Golden Harvest V3 in it. So I'm pretty excited to see how that goes. I built a blade for her saber, and her blade build video is on my YouTube channel. Yeah, go back through some of your stuff, Mike. My guess is that you overloaded your Profi. So double and triple check your error message and send your error message on the open source group. We'll be able to translate it for you and tell you, what's causing that error message. But my guess is it's not Fernando's blade style. So the Corbanth 2.5 and the Graflex Supreme. So the Corbanth Graflex 2.5, I wish I had my replica Graflex here to show you guys. So on a Corbanth 2.5, the difference is that the bottom of the hilt actually screws on to the core. So there's a core inside, and the inside of the Graflex has threads on it like this, and basically the Graflex screws onto the core. And if you stand by, I'll go get a replica Graflex and I'll show you the difference on a replica Graflex is that the replica Graflex uses the slot tabs to secure the tabs together. Stand by. We'll get the replica Graflex out. So let's get the replica Graflex out. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I am wearing pajama bottoms. Don't tell anybody. They're Star Wars pajamas, at least. All right. So this is a replica Graflex. This is a Graflex shop replica, and it's not yet assembled. But how this one goes together is it has these slide tabs that catch the tabs inside of the actual Graflex clamp. So basically what happens is these tabs slide in, and then they twist to grab and that's how that's held together, which I don't know if y'all can hear that, but it wiggles back and forth. That is why I'm still a huge fan of, now when you tighten the clamp, you don't have that much of a wiggle, but that's why I'm still a fan of the Graflex 2.5s. The Graflex 2.5s don't do that. They thread on. And the Graflex 2.5s are a lot easier to install. The blade holders come with them. You don't have to order the blade holder separate. I'm going to miss the Graflex 2.5. I have seen the PCBs that Cal released. They're pretty awesome. But that is the difference between a 2.5 and a replica Graflex. So this replica Graflex is no different than KR Sabers or 89 Sabers or the new replica Graflexes. But I will say this. I mean, I like the replica Graflexes, and this is a TGS, and it's, you know, got the really accurate S curve and, you know, the really accurate clamp stamping. But the bottom line is that 2.5s were a lot tougher, and there's a lot of cool chassis out there, and I am going to miss the 2.5s. What killed the 2.5s was the accuracy Nazis were demanding that this S curve be changed, and they actually wanted the Graflex clamp to work just like this. They were basically trying to turn the 2.5s into a replica Graflex. And Parks, the initial designer of that hilt that's been in circulation for years, was reluctant to do that. And him and Corbanth parted ways, partly to do with a lot of the reviews about the Graflex 2.5 compared to the TGS and the 89 Sabers and the new version of the Corbanth. But nothing we can do about that. I will miss the Graflex 2.5s. I mean, I've been a huge fan of these things. This is my TFA Graflex 2.5. I almost lost my replica there. It almost fell on the ground. But that replica is going to get that Goth metal Mentor chassis in it in A New Hope. So it's going to be awesome. That one's going to get the red Profi. Yeah, Parks is still around, but I think they're like $250, Cole. But this is an example of a Parks with a metal chassis. This is Goth 3D's metal chassis, which this thing's beautiful. It's in stainless and rhodium and gold steel. And look at that. That thing is beautiful. And this is a 2.5. I'm just really going to miss the versatility of the 2.5s. And by the way, this one is Teensy Saber, if I didn't tell you guys. This one's still powered by... Teensy Saber. And it's still relevant. To me, this Graflex that I installed with Teensy Saber V3 is still very relevant. It's running on the most recent OS, and I built that Saber years ago. I built that Saber 3 years ago. It's awesome. And that's a Graflex 2.5. It's just awesome. Yeah, the Broke Flex Rich is pretty awesome, but I'm going to miss the 2.5. Jam Sparger said he just got his first Graflex. It's over 13 years old with no markings, but it has the clamp lines, nothing at all. It's probably a 2.5 Jam Sparger because those hilts have been in production for quite a while. If you post pictures to my Facebook page, I'll try and tell you. It depends on how it goes together, but my guess is you have a 2.5 or a 2.1 Graflex hilt there. But you know, that's the difference between the Graflex 2.5s and the replicas. Stand by, I'll show you all something else. The Dark Saber. So this is with the dual decals, which is a fix. And this is with my tape under the normal decal on that side. But with the dual decals, it's actually diffused really good. But there is the hilt. It's not yet fully assembled. I just have this installed as an example. But that is the Solos Hold Nerfworks Labs Dark Saber. And that's running Kyberphonics Dark. And I will put Dark version 2 on it, but it is an awesome saber with a custom blade. And you can see, like, there's the top of the blade, and the neopixels actually load in that top section of the blade. And then there's the bottom section of the blade, and you get neopixel light that illuminates out of both edges of that blade. So she's a beaut. It's not going to be something for everyone, but it's a beaut. Here she blows. You guys can see there's some pixelation there. I don't know if everybody's going to pick up on that on the edge, but not on those edges, which is what's important. That's mine. I can't believe I got my blades before you, Fernando, because you had your hilt like a week before I had my hilt. And I was like, damn it. I was number 16 on that list, and Fernando's got his hilt already, and he's like number 60. And but I did get my blades. But that is an awesome saber. You know, despite my issues with it, which have been well publicized on the TRA, which Nerfworks Lab still hasn't responded to any of my videos. Nor have they responded about the stickers, because I was short some stickers in the one blade package. But my other blade package had the stickers I needed, so I've used those. But it's still an awesome saber. Now, let's talk about oh, by the way, I have gesture ignition in this thing. So let's talk about Fernando's gesture ignition. Have any of y'all seen Fernando's swing gesture ignition? That thing is awesome. Yeah, the blade is kind of hollow, Ron. It's machined hollow in the top here, and there's this plastic piece in the top, and you load your neopixels in there, and then you insert this plastic piece in the top. But the blade is hollow, at least hollow enough to fit your neopixel strips in there, but there's not a lot of room for diffusion. It's a pretty cool blade. Got a message from Robin King on Megtooth Sith sabers. But you know, Fernando's new gesture ignition, which I haven't had time to mess with because I've been painting my house. I'm looking forward to trying Fernando's swing on. I'm really, really happy with it. The stab on is cool, but it's inconsistent. It's hard for me to get it to trigger consistently. I mean, I could... Yeah. Maybe it timed out. Stand by. There, I got it. Twist is easy. Stab. See, I missed it once. So Fernando did the... of course, now it comes on when I don't want it to. But Fernando did the quick swing on, quick draw, the quick draw gesture ignition, which is pretty cool. I haven't had time to screw around with that, but it's pretty cool. And Fernando posted the instructions and the beta instructions for all that on the open source group, and including links to all his files where you can download his files. But hey, I want to talk about something else, Fernando. When you get your saber, this cover, which goes over the blade retention, you cannot remove that when the blade's inserted, which is another slight defect here. So we're probably gonna have to mill down these points somehow so they can squeak by the blade when it's on, so we can loosen the blade retention and get the blade out of there. This saber is like kind of permanently installed, so that's not an issue for me. And when I say permanently installed, I don't mean like that's the final install. I mean, you can't take the blade out. The blade is hardwired into the install. I don't have the pins installed in there yet. Now I do have the pins, but I didn't use them for this initial install, just for the look-see. This is just a rough install so I could see how the package looked all together. I still have to send these hilts off for powder coating and get the Goth 3D chassis, and you know, then I'll do the full install on these. And somebody already wants one, but I think he's delusional about how much these are going to cost. Yeah, just to let you know, you're definitely going to have to do some work there, because this cover, which they want you to, you know, put it on with magnets, and I have it held on with tape right now, but this cover, it won't, because of this point right here, it can't eke by the blade when the blade's on, so you can't get to the blade retention screw. So that's gonna, you know, you're gonna have to do something screwy there to get that off. But Bo, you didn't have to do that, man, but I appreciate it. And Bo sent me a super chat. You guys don't have to send those super chats. Like I said, to me, the coolest thing is watching you guys build your own sabers. And if y'all are tuning in here, you're probably building your own sabers. And to me, the biggest reward for that is watching you guys build your own sabers and publish them on Facebook and YouTube. And I see those sabers rocking and rolling, and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. The more guys that are installing their own sabers, the better. I don't worry about business at all. Yeah, Fernando, have you noticed their lack of responses to my videos and my questions? Um, you know, for all the money, now you realize I have 2 of these hilts and I have 2 of these blades, so you do the math on that. There's a lot of money invested. And oh, Rashimoto's in the house. Whoop whoop. Hey Rashi, good to see you. Rashi's rocking some sabers. I saw Rashi rocking some red and white Profi boards today, so that's awesome. I'm excited to get mine. I wanted to check the mailbox to see if I got my red Profi boards in, but yeah, you know, the patch stores look pretty good. And you know, Jeff said he liked the rounded edges more, and I will say this: the edges of this are sharp. You know what I mean? When you hold it in your hand, it's square, and these edges are definitely sharp. And it's also really hard to get the cover off. And when you install the magnets, I don't know how the hell you're going to get that cover off. It's so tight. Now I will say this, that the machining on this cover is so perfect that you can't see it when it's on. But it's so perfect, you also can't get it off. I mean, once you install magnets on that thing, I don't know how you're going to get it off. But at any rate, Bo, again, I appreciate the super chat. You guys don't have to super chat me. I appreciate it. Look, the more subscribers I get, and I got commercials going on the channel, you know, I never dreamed in 1,000 years that this YouTube channel would do as well as it did. And I do these Monday Megtooth live vids to keep in touch with you guys and find out what you're looking for. And, you know, I review things like this, the Nerfworks Labs Dark Saber, you know, hoping to give you guys some pretty good insight. That's one of the reasons why I installed this. I think I'm the first person to install the Dark Saber from Nerfworks Labs. And you know, it's a cool saber. It's got some engineering issues, which coming from Nerfworks Labs is kind of surprising. And I think the fact that Cedric or Goth 3D has been so quiet, I think there's, you know, trouble in paradise over at Nerfworks Labs. Especially the fact that they haven't responded to me at all. Especially Obi Shane. He hasn't responded at all. He responded to me a lot when the thread was going on. Told me I didn't know anything about NeoPixels. Obi Shane, you know, corrected me on NeoPixels. I bet I built more NeoPixel blades in my sleep than Obi Shane has built in his entire life. But I don't know anything about NeoPixels or their protocols. Whatever. It is what it is. Yeah. Still not quite sure why he gave me so much attitude. I mean, I was a customer of Nerfworks Labs, and that dude was giving me attitude and lip in the thread, and I was kind of like, I gave up on the thread. I was like, whatever, just ship my sabers. But he really hasn't responded anything on my thread on TRA about the issues I had with the blade. And It is what it is. I'll build these sabers out, and they're still awesome. I mean, I'm going to tell you all this right now. And the owner of TRA owns Solo's Hold. Aaron owns Solo's Hold, and he now owns the TRA. And, you know, I'm sure if he sees this video, I'll probably get banned like Dimitri. But the bottom line is that I'm just being honest with him. I think this is a great hilt, and it's a great blade, and it's a cool saber. But I think that Obi Shane should have been more open about what he did to make the blade look like it did, how he made it work. It's not that difficult to make an instructional video. Here I am doing a live video. Don't tell me you don't have time to do a 5-minute instructional video about how to put this blade together that people just paid a lot of money for. That's bad business practice. And you want to put it off on Cedric and say, well, we're waiting on GAW 3D to do the install instructions when you've already installed this saber and built a blade. Okay. It ain't that hard to do a video on YouTube. I mean, y'all see all the videos I do, and it doesn't take much effort. I just put the camera on what I'm doing and film it and put it on an editor and edit it down, and off we go to the races. Every lightsaber I build for a customer, I do a video on it. And here they sold, you know, hundreds of hilts and hundreds of blades, and you can't do a 5-minute video? Come on. You want to educate me about neopixels? You can do that, but you can't do a 5-minute instructional video? That's BS. But I do like Aaron. You're absolutely right, Jedi Seth. So Aaron did all the machining on this hilt, and it's incredible, and the tolerances are incredible, and Aaron's a genius. And he'll probably, you know, I don't know if they'll ban me from TRA, but their alliance with Obi Shane is a fallacy. Obi Shane treats people like crap. He talks to everybody like they're stupid. And you don't do that with your customers. You just don't. And that's the bottom line. I don't want to say any more than that. I'm probably going to get banned from the TRA now. But anybody that doesn't believe me, go on the TRA thread about these hilts and sabers, and you can see all the questions I posed and the lack of answers coming from Obi Shane, who designed this blade. And that lack of information and communication shows you who Obi Shane really is. He wants to show how cool of a saber he can build, but he doesn't want to share it with anybody, including customers that bought it. And to me, that's a problem. It's a problem. It is what it is. I didn't want to get nasty on tonight's video, but I did. So there you go. It's out there for posterity now. So if I get banned from the TRA tomorrow, now you guys know the rest of the story. Whatever. If they ban me, they ban me. The TRA, what scares me about the TRA is the FX Sabers forum. You know, there was a massive group that broke off from FX Sabers, and it was for precisely what's going on the TRA right now. And, you know, you had big names like Vader's Vault and Plector and, you know, Genesis Custom Sabers and Yoda that were running FX Sabers group. And, you know, you had Scott coming out with the NEC soundboard, and he was a threat. And, you know, a bunch of those guys fractured off from FX Sabers and formed the TRA. And the TRA was kind of more supportive to open stuff. And then the TRA was sold to Aaron from Solo's Hold. And, you know, in the time since even before Aaron owned Solo's Hold, it just seemed like a lot of open source supporters were being banned. And they say they have reason and justification for banning them, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I'm not a moderator on there. I'm not stalking everybody's stuff, but a lot of the people that were banned on TRA were people that supported open source boards, and I'm kind of like, I'm waiting for them to ban me because I'm a big Profi supporter, big Profi guy, and I'm sure if Aaron or Obi Shane see this, there'll be a huge move to ban me on TRA. But yeah, I'm on FX Sabers, and I'm on TRA, but I'm also on the Custom Saber Shop forums. But if they ban me from the TRA, then so be it. It is what it is. You're going to ban me because I'm being honest. But respond to my post on the TRA on these lightsabers that I have almost $1,000 of my money invested in. You want to prove that I'm wrong. Um, the fact that they haven't responded now for 2 weeks stays, it says all it needs to say. I'm not an unhappy customer, Ron. I just think for the amount of money we spent, there should have been a little bit more engineering thought that went into this and a little bit more openness, transparency in the builds. You don't sell these. You think about it. Each of these was the hilt and blade was close to $700 a piece, and I bought 2 of them, so I got $1,400 invested. And you're going to be secretive about how to install them? Come on. But the fact that they haven't responded for 2 weeks, and don't give me the crap that they're busy, because Obishane was posting that thread every day until I posted my video, and then he stopped posting. So I know he's seen it. But it is what it is. I don't want to be disgruntled. Again, it is a very cool saber. It's a very cool blade. But I shouldn't have to struggle to figure out how to build them. We're spending that much money on saber and a blade. They should have thorough instructions on how to build them on the internet, especially since he's already built one. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not even going to talk about that dark saber anymore. I'll build them out. They're going to be awesome when I finish them. I'll fix the engineering flaws that it has and make it better. But now it got me down. I don't need to be down. Fixing to move into a new house. Me and Jennaru, we got it made. We're moving into a great new house, getting rid of this thing. And I'm covered in paint because I've been painting all day. And we're out of here. I close on Friday. Oh yeah, so speaking of DX Sabers, I know I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So I ordered the Princess from DX Sabers back in April or May. Paid full price. And never got my hilt. And I've only contested 2 things on PayPal. And one was the drama with Jordan Eugene from SoCal Sabers on the Red Profi Board run, and I had $1,000 invested in that run, and I eventually got my money back, but it wasn't from Jordan Eugene, it was from PayPal. And then DX Sabers royally screwed me on the Princess, and I've had the chassis here from oh, y'all help me out here. Who's the guy that makes all the chassis for the... Oh, God, I'm having another Alzheimer's moment. He's from Smuggler's Outpost. Yeah, Robert Sotomayor. Jesus, Cole, thank you. Cole's working out and still has a better memory than I do. Cole, are you young or something? Your brain hasn't slipped as bad as mine. Yeah, Robert Sotomayor. So I've had the chassis for that saber. So I posted in Universal Lightsabers group, and I'm like, hey, I had a bad experience. Can somebody get me to a vendor that can actually get me the LGT Leia? And they sent me to now I'm gonna have another Alzheimer's moment. But they sent me to a group. I have to remember this, and we'll do a live video about it next week. But I got bailed out by 2 American saber groups, and I'll talk about their names next week. And I'm sure not one of them's watching. Hey, Melissa, I see you. Cole Weather's 38, so no. Well, Cole, I'm 49. So I got you by 11 years. Come back and check in with me and see if your memory's as good when you're 11 years older. I'm 49 years old. You're still a kid at 38. We're all kids. we're all like kids that were Dark Wolf sabers. Johnny Collado, yeah, yeah. Thank God. Thank God Rashimoto's in the house. Rashimoto knows what I was talking about. So Dark Wolf Sabers bailed me out, and then he actually referred me to another group, um, and I can't recall that guy's name. Something Jedi, but I'll talk about that bailout next week on the Monday Megtooth Live because I want to make sure I call out them. But Johnny Collado on Dark Wolf Sabers bailed me out. I have the Princess in her out, so when it comes here, and it should arrive this week, then I'll be able to show it. And DX Sabers, do not do business with them. That is a huge ripoff. Those people ripped my money off. I had to file a PayPal claim, and they're as bad as Jordan Eugene or Jordan Mall or any of the others. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever messaged me to build you a saber and got my message. Can't take commission. Can't take commission. But yeah, Melissa, I'm good. I hope you're well too. But the reason that I refuse so many commissions is I saw what Jordan, Mall did. I saw what Jordan Eugene did, and I didn't want to be them. So, I mean, if I don't have room or time to take on commissions, then I don't. I don't want people's stuff stacking up in my house and I have a gazillion lightsabers to send. Thank you, Javier. That's awesome. Glad you like my vids and glad you like my lightsabers. Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm still sore about it too, Chet Osborne. That one chapped my ass. I had $1,000 on the line. I had to file a PayPal claim there. But the bottom line is that I try not to be like those guys, and I try not to take business that I can't accomplish. If I take your saber, that means I fully intend on building it, and I fully intend on turning it over to you in a decent time frame. And a decent time frame to me is within 2 months. If I can't turn a lightsaber back to you in 2 months, then I don't want it. Yeah, I know, Melissa. Scarecrow is waiting on the chassis for your saber. I hope I don't have the COVID. I'm coughing and sneezing tonight on the live video. I might have the vid. I hope I don't. Javier's like, still waiting on that comment to pop up. I saw it pop up on my phone, but it didn't pop up there. Yeah, Javier, I do have a Graphics for sale. It is not cheap. The asking price on that was $1,300. That's for lightsaber, charger, and blade, and NeoPixel blade plug. But I'm willing to negotiate on that. Just realize there's $880 in parts alone on that saber. So, yep, I have a lightsaber for sale. Right, chill. I showed it earlier in the video, but it's got all kind of cool stuff in the chassis. For those of y'all signing in, this one's got a Goth 3D Night chassis, and it's got NeoPixel accents going on the back. They do all kinds of stuff when the saber's running. It's got a crystal chamber that it pulses when it's off. When it's on, has cool behavior. Max blade. It also has gesture, ignition, and retraction. Put that back on. And the buttons are in the clamp. This has all kinds of accuracy mods on the grips, as well as the bottom end. It's got the KR pommel coin on there. Rivets holding the pommel coin. Rivets hauled out. Has the Phillips head screws there. Has the Mylar tape on the Graphics clamp. Both red buttons, which are false. Graphics tabs, illuminated blade plug with NeoPixels. Gesture, retraction, and ignition. There's a video about this saber, a full demo video on my YouTube channel. So yeah, this saber is for sale with the blade and the charger. It's a Graphics. It's a Graphics, Melissa. Glad you recognize its sound. I tried to hold it up to the screen so you could see it. I realized I didn't hold it up there very long. For those of y'all that don't know, Melissa's world, she is blind, but she can hear really good. She has Jedi impulses when it comes to her senses. She's awesome. But yeah, that's it. Oh, Brady Lloyd's on here. Brady Lloyd, your blade plug is en route, buddy. Hopefully you'll have it soon, and show me video of that thing when you get it. Send the video to my page, brag on it. Brady Lloyd got one of my last Arkham DSE razor blade plugs I had in stock. Oh yeah, the gesture ignitions by Fernando are spot on. They're on the money. I can't wait to do the swing ignition on mine. But my sabers all have the gesture ignition right now. 4.00 volts. So this is my Dark Force Custom Sabers Transcendence with the fire blade. And by the way, Melissa, this is the scrap from your lightsaber blade for your build, but for retraction, twist. Look, Ma, no buttons. There's the buttons. I'm not even touching them. The gesture ignition and retraction is some of the coolest stuff that has happened to the lightsaber community. Are the bottom pixels diffused? Yes, they are, Chet Osborne. They are diffused. Trying to catch up to everybody's comments. Yep, Melissa's legally blind. Have not seen Wonderful's Leia saber. Yeah, no, Jedi Seth. Isn't that awesome? I'm looking forward to using Fernando's prop files and gesture ignitions. I am excited. Yeah, Rashi, the gesture ignitions are awesome. I think it's the coolest thing that's happened to lightsabers since Flash on Clash was invented. Yeah, it's so awesome, Seth. You know, that gesture ignition, you can just turn it on without even touching it. And turn it off with a twist. And when you're, and I accidentally ignited it there. When you're wielding the saber around, none of those happen. I've twisted the saber, twirled the saber. Those gesture ignitions and retractions never happen. They're just so awesome. Well, NeoPixel was a big, huge revolution, Tom. It really was. I've been a NeoPixel fan. I mean, I've been installing lightsabers for quite a while now, and all my initial installs were Tri-Crees, and I was one of the first to delve into NeoPixels, which is why I said what I said about Obi Shane criticizing me about NeoPixel knowledge. But I've been installing NeoPixels for a long time. I think I built hundreds of NeoPixel blades, and I love the effects on NeoPixels. That's why I started an open source. I mean, I wanted a fire blade on my Kylo Ren sabers, and Teensy Saber got me into open source, and Profi, I've been involved in the Profi beta test when Profi was first invented on Profi 1.5 as well as Profi 2.2. I know, Ron, did you see those pixel sticks? Did you see them on Cal's channel? Oh my God. I don't know, Michael, but I am so excited to get those pixel sticks. There's so much cool stuff happening in the lightsaber community. Oh my God, we're at 1 hour and 8 minutes. It's a good thing Birch is on a long business trip, because if he saw this video and saw me at 1 hour and 8 minutes, he'd really be pissed. And Jennaru's asleep, and Jennaru's been sick all week, so I need to be quiet so Jennaru can get some sleep. Yeah, twist does not happen accidentally, Fernando. I am getting used to the stab ignition, but I really like your swing ignition better, and I want to rotate to that eventually. I know, he's a Canuck. He's probably got some hockey jersey on it with a maple leaf. Birchie. He calls them Profies. I'm installing a Profi, boys. Wait till you see this saber with a Profi in it. Poor Birch. He's on a business trip. Everybody keep Birch in your prayers, and support Birch's, cause to get his son an assistance dog. And hopefully, if I can get this Golden Harvest V3 and the Verso sabers installed, I can give one of those to him to auction off. But it was great seeing all you guys tonight. Hopefully we're not going to have a Megtooth Monday next week because I'll be in the middle of moving. But hopefully the week after that. So what's the first Monday in August? will be August 3rd. So I'm guessing we will not have a Megtooth Monday Live on August 3rd, but we will have one on August 10th. But we'll be in a new location, be in the new workshop, which probably still won't be fully set up. But I'm so excited to be in the new workshop. So excited to be moving. Jennaru and the ukulele girl are excited as well. And hopefully I'll have the Leia Saber to premiere for you guys. And I'll talk about how I got bailed out by Johnny Collado and others on that. Do not buy a saber from DX. Ever. They'll rip you off. And Cole, I still owe you one. I haven't forgot about you, Cole. And I appreciate you wishing me luck on the move. And, once I get moved and settled in, you need to find something to send to me, and it's on me. And you know why. Cole Weathers. I owe Cole Weathers huge. And, I have a bunch of sabers to build. I've got 3 CFX installs to do. I got a Yo saber to work on, and I want to finish my Graflex. So before I take any commissions, I'm going to finish my Graflex with a Mentor chassis, because I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to follow Birch's advice, and hopefully I can show that sucker off to you guys. Yeah, DX is worse than Saberforge Melissa's World. Worse, if that's possible. They're worse. I had to file a PayPal claim against them. But at any rate, thank you everybody for watching. Pray that I don't get kicked off TRA, but if I get banned from TRA, this video probably did it. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And then hopefully they're a little bit more responsive about that dark saber. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks in a new location. This is the last Megtooth Monday Live in my old shop in Janda, my corner. Next time you guys see me, I'll have a window. I'll be able to look out on the world as I'm talking to y'all. But may the force be with you all. Have a great week. Good night, Fernando. Thank you guys for the luck on the move. I'm excited on multiple reasons. I'm going to be near a boat ramp too. That's really bad. I won't be building sabers in the summer. I'll be on my boat. I'll be at Masonboro Island. But at any rate, love you guys. Oh, I don't want to leave the TRA, Melissa, but the TRA might kick me out because some of the stuff I said tonight. But it is what it is. If they boot me, they boot me. If they ban me, they ban me. It is what it is. But I had to be honest about my experience there with NerfWorks Labs. But at any rate, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks after I get moved. And everybody keep me in your thoughts and prayers in the force this weekend, because I'm going to need it. Because Jennaru's sick, and I'm by myself. It's going to be a lot of moving. But at any rate, we're ready to roll. Thank you everybody for watching. May the force be with you. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And hopefully I'll have a lot to talk about. Thanks everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace.